Good evening and welcome to this premiere episode of Outside the Box. On this show, we give you the opportunity to interact directly with various party candidates who will be contesting the upcoming general elections. Last week, we had sent out invites to all major parties that had registered and had named candidates. Remember, you can also join the discussion by having your say in our daily poll. The question for today is, should the newly elected government continue with a free education policy? Simply text yes or no to 3592 to all Vodafone, Digicel and Ink users. Charges apply. So tonight, we begin with our first batch. First up, we have Dr. Eci Nabalarua from the National Federation Party. Dr. Eci, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, first question for you, Dr. Eci. Firstly, why have you decided to stand in this election?
Thank you. I believe that in the 34 years of my professional experience, I have gained a lot of expertise and competencies in community service and in professional service. And I believe that this has grounded me well for the challenges of national service before me, which is why I've chosen to stand in these elections.
Okay. So what do you think is your point of difference, from the other candidates also standing?
I believe that the choice of me standing for the National Federation Party, a party which in its 50 years has a proven track record of public service, of stability, consistency, strategic visioning, and wisdom in its leadership in terms of its service in a multiracial Fiji, with a particular focus on respecting indigenous issues and the role of the chiefly system within our country. And in addition, I believe that the combined technical and intellectual expertise that is now in the party has prepared us well with the kinds of intellectual expertise that would be able to take the country forward should it form the new government.
Good. Politics, they say, is a very different ballgame. Are you prepared for it?
I am prepared for it. I think I come from a legacy of politicians, a family tradition of people who have served the country through national public service. And I believe that I have been prepared for this calling.
Dr. Eci, you'll be standing against 100 or more candidates. Eh? What makes you think that you are stronger than them?
I think that my experience has provided me with the wisdom and the humility and also the intelligence with the qualifications to be able to go forward because after all, it took me 7 years to decide to finally stand in this election. So there's a lot of thinking and preparation that has gone into this.
Now, before you decided to take up politics, like I said, you were thinking about that for the last 7 years. Before making the final decision, you were a dean at the Fiji National University. Eh?
Yes.
And one of your strength would be education. Eh?
Yes, that's right.
What are some of the things are you looking at?
Well, the NFP is interested in ensuring that access and equity to education will be available to all children. We also approve the issue of free education, primary and secondary, free textbooks, free bus fares. But for me, my particular emphasis will be on the quality of education. And in order to get that quality, it's really important to ensure that all the particular benchmarks associated with ensuring quality, like reviewing the base legislation of the Education Act in 1978, undertaking a National Education Commission of Inquiry to look at the curriculum, the methodology, and the delivery of our curriculum, the relevance and responsiveness of the education that we put our children through, because it needs to be responsive to the needs of industry, the peoples and the communities of Fiji. And that's a lot of things that we would like to look at because we believe that, for example, we should use the technology to modernize the education that we have. We need to make sure that our education systems are of world-class standards. We need to re-look at the way in which we do our assessments, because I'm sure members of the public will agree with me that there's a lot being said about the removal of examinations from Class 6, Class 8, 4th form, because the caliber of the students that are coming out need to be re-looked at again and to be made sure that it is in sync with what the industry and the country needs.
You're also interested in Itoke issues, eh? What in particular?
I think the issue of Toke, indigenous rights, and indigenous people in terms of their position at the heart of Fijian society. Talks about language and culture, and about the things that are close to the indigenous people. And most important, ensuring that there is a consultation process that takes place between those who are responsible for the Toke issues, the Toke themselves, and the rest of us the rest of the people in Fijian society.
On Itoke issues, indigenous issues, I know you've taught on this before, and in your manifesto it says that within 100 days of being in government, your party will convene a national forum for traditional high chiefs and heads of Evusa to determine the future of the Fijian administration. Now, people will find this puzzling, but what can you tell them? Okay,
in the manifesto, it does not specifically say that the NFP will bring back the GCC, so to speak, but within the parliamentary processes and the rules of parliament, there are processes which will allow the government of the day to ensure that there is widespread consultation on Toke issues, and that through that same process, it is possible to undertake and hear from the people at large as to how they believe the particular components of Toke issues need to be addressed.
Exactly. Okay, now, one of the other issues that you're interested in this election is sustainability. Maybe it's been a word that's been used now and then, but for you, sustainability, what does it mean?
Okay, sustainability for me actually means the management and use of resources in society in such a manner that it fulfills the needs of the current generation without jeopardizing the needs of the future. And that's what it means. And there are strategies that the NFP would like to use in ensuring that sustainability takes place. For example, safety and security of the community at large through initiatives like community policing, having a just taxation system in place which will lead to improving the quality of public services, increasing access to educational opportunities, and providing social safety measures in place. It also refers to the promoting of investment for inclusive development.
Thank you, Dr. Edi. Time has caught us. And stay with us. We will be next, in the next segment, we'll have Viliame Gavoka from SODELPA. Thank you. Welcome back. Now we have Viliame Gavoka from SODELPA. Bulamika, Mr. Gavoka.
Bulamika.
Okay.
Bula.
Now the first question the viewers will be asking: why are you contesting in these elections?
Mika, I just love Fiji. I love it so much. I believe I can play a big role in taking this Fiji forward. We've had 7 or 8 tough years And I believe that the country needs to redirect itself, get itself on a better platform, and move it forward. And I believe SODELPA is the best party that can do this. And I want to be part of that process with SODELPA, through SODELPA. Yeah.
Yes. Now, tourism is your strength, and basically your party has issues to address in these elections insofar as tourism is concerned. Now, you once said that tourism, the strength of it, is basically in democracy and stability. It's crucial. Do you think we in that environment? We're still in that?
Absolutely. We need democracy to have a thriving tourism industry. Yeah? Unfortunately, over the last couple of years, that's something that we have lacked in this country. But globally, in the global community, you need freedom for tourism to thrive and to stabilize itself. Huh? I was part of the industry when the government changed in 2006, and I could feel immediately the impact of that change. A change that was almost brutal in some ways, and it decimated the tourism industry in a very big way. But Fiji has got a very huge reservoir of goodwill all over the world. We were able to recover that. But imagine if the reservoir of goodwill and freedom and democracy comes into the mix, tourism in this country would virtually have no limits.
Yeah. Mr. Gavoka, one of the viewers is just texting a question. Is your party still serious about reintroducing the Ngoli bill?
Yes, Ngoli bill is going to be part of our way forward. Ngoli bill had covered a lot of grounds in the SDL government. We almost came close to it. We almost did it in February 2007, but then the upheaval occurred in December 2006. We were only 2 months away from introducing Ngoli bill. And looking back at it, there was something promised to the people of Fiji back in 1880, the chiefs of Fiji by Queen Victoria. So 2007, we almost came to it, but then came the change. You need not be alarmed about it. A dialogue had occurred over many years on the Ngoli bill.
But for someone who's been in the tourism industry for ages, and in this, if you go back, there was a lot of industry players that were against this. And I mean, for a person who's been there and done it, do you strongly support it?
I think all those fears were unfounded because it was not tested. People were afraid of our own people. Ngoli was coming into the beach and invading it and all that kind of stuff. But with proper structure in place, you have a proper something like NLTB to oversee the Ngolis. You don't have to worry about it. You need not fear about things like that. As a hotelier, as a tourism person, I want my landowners to benefit in a major way on tourism. This is one of the key issues in our manifesto, that we want the resource owners to benefit in a big way and to be parts of the equity interest also in the businesses. Do
you think the Itoki community will be convinced?
I'm sure. I think they are. It's been a while since they had any dialogue on this, since they had any part in the dialogue, and I think they're ready. We have learned a lot over the last 7 years. Okay, I think people now know where we were, where we want to be, and are ready to take that course and do it in a way that is legal, highly structured, and conducive for tourism to grow.
If you were to go into Parliament or be part of the next government, if you were to come up with a solution that will, take the tourism industry right up there, what would that be?
Number of things. One is marketing. We need to market quite aggressively. The Tourism Fiji, which I used to head, it used to be called FEB during my time. It needs to be well funded. And I just want to remind people that hotel turnover tax, which the tourists pay now, was my tax. I was the person behind that. Instead of asking the taxpayers of Fiji to pay for marketing, we put it into a hotel tax bed tax in the hotels. That has to be spent in its entirety for marketing Fiji. It comes about $27 or $30 million a year. With that kind of funding, we can bring in the numbers in tourism. In addition to that, we need to have incentives, good incentives to develop projects, hotels, cruises, you name it. And you need the goodwill of the resource owners.
Mr. Gavoka, what made you decide to become a politician and contest the elections?
Like I said at the outset, I really love my country, and I'm a very inclusive person. Okay, I'm passionate about my people, about the rights of the indigenous people, but I'm also very inclusive.
You are against, hundreds of candidates who will be contesting the elections. Right. What makes you different from the others? What makes you think that you will voted into the next parliament and not them?
I think people know that I'm very inclusive, and Fiji needs that. We need inclusive people. And just my Indian friends would normally call me as a Dulsara Kaibiti, meaning this guy is a different guy. So I'm just inclusive. I just want everyone to be part of this nation as one people, and from there, that as a platform, this country can have almost unlimited potential.
Yeah. Just finally, you have relatives who will be contesting the same election. How do you feel about that?
Family is family, politics is politics.
Thank you. In the next segment, we'll be talking to Lynda Tabuya from the People's Democratic Party. Now, welcome back. Here with me in the studio is Lynda Tabuya from the PDP party. How are you, Lynda?
Very well, Mika, okay. Thank you.
Now, you were a DPP prosecutor, and then you became a law lecturer at the University of South Pacific. Why turn into politics?
Thank you, Mika. Ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to be a politician. I grew up in the suburb of Wakanisila, which is a settlement in Kalambu, and for me, going on to study law was a means to an end to become a politician. I've always wanted to be in Parliament. Certainly growing up in that settlement and seeing what poor conditions are like and living it, I wanted to make real change, to my own people, to my own family, and certainly to the community and to the whole nation. So I've always wanted to effect change around me and also my own circumstances, and that's certainly what has driven me to go into politics this time. And on top of that, we've had 8 years of drought without, a parliament. So I believe this is time for me to step up as a young person, and new to this, to the whole arena of politics, but certainly not new to the issues that affect the people today in this country.
Do you have a high expectation of winning?
I certainly do. I believe in the power of the people, that they will be moved by the issues that affect them, and certainly they have echoed sentiments that they need change in this country, and I'm here hopefully to be the vehicle of change. Okay,
thank you. Now, a viewer just texted a short while ago, and they want this question asked of you.
Thank you.
Why you'll be standing against other lawyers also from other parties?
Yes.
What makes you different from them, and voters will vote you into Parliament?
Thank you. I'd like to start off first certainly with the fact that being the president of our party, being a young person to be the president of the party, the faith that the members of the party have put in me, and certainly our leaders, to lead, I believe, is certainly something I can offer, which is leadership qualities. I also am young, like I said, and I am new to the arena, but I believe that moving forward, this country needs something new. And for the undecided voters that are out there, certainly for the youth who are going to represent a majority of voters this year, I represent that segment, or that segment of the voters, and I certainly can represent the issues that they have to offer, that they need.
Now, you want a complete overhaul of the current land system. Why?
Thank you, Mika. Again, growing up in an informal settlement like Wakanisila, certainly there was gratitude to the landowners for giving us the opportunity to build a home for those that couldn't afford it, for those that came outside of Suva. But I believe there needs to be a further step taken to formalize these settlements, and not just informal settlements that lease native land, but also those that are on crown land, or what we refer to as squatter settlements. I believe they also have the right to, or at least the opportunity to formalize where they live, and that means that we need to review the laws that allow security, or at least give security of tenure to the very poor and to those that need that assistance the most. I mean, freehold land is very scarce in our country, and not many people can afford that. It's just the top 5% of the country or middle-income earners that can. What about the low-income earners and those below the poverty line? One of the pillars of PDP is to ensure affordable housing, because this will achieve social justice, and that is looking at affordable housing for many people, and the majority of our population, certainly those that growing up in that settlement, I need to see that kind of change that happened for our people.
Your party wants to restore the GCC. Are you all for it?
Yes, we are, Mika.
And why?
Thank you. We believe, the PDP believes that the traditions and our way of life of Itaukei is very important to this country, and restoring the GCC would mean that we have that great respect and adherence to the chiefs of our land. And restoring the GCC would mean it would be an advisory body to a PDP government. It would also be able to not just help us to preserve our way of life and our traditions, but also to advise government on the economic well-being of Itaukei. You know, we look at overseas where farmers, you know, in Australia and New Zealand, farmers are millionaires. They make a lot of money from being farmers. But yet here in Fiji, our farmers are the poorest. Why is that? You know, in Itaukei, we are some of the poorest. We have a lot of land which is been gifted to us. Then why not have our leaders or our chiefs to be there as to advise the government on our economic well-being with the use of land? And any matters to do with Itaukei must go before the GCC, who would then advise the government on, or Parliament, on the steps to take forward, and that's very important.
Your legal experiences, do you think that will be of benefit to the next Parliament?
Absolutely.
Or in the next Parliament?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, I've always wanted to be a lawyer so that I could be a politician, and Parliament is the supreme body of land that makes laws. So lawyers, we have learned how to make law, and we live it every day. So certainly my skills as a lawyer and my experience in my community work, working to promote the visibility of children and youth and women, especially to do with the changes in laws, I believe I will be able to benefit the next Parliament.
Politics, they say, is a very different ballgame. Are you ready for it?
Certainly, Mika. Firstly, I'd like to say that being part of the People's Democratic Party has given me the courage to go ahead in this fight, because I believe in our leader who's always fought for human rights and for workers' rights, Felix Anthony. I believe in everyone that's in the party, that they have been living the life of fighting for rights. And so it's not just something that has come up during the elections. I certainly have also been working in the community, advocating and raising the visibility of minority groups and disadvantaged people. And I would like to take that on to Parliament. I believe it's just the next step, which is the national arena, and I'm certainly ready for it.
No, thank you, Lynda.
Thank you.
And that's the show for tonight. We will announce the results of today's poll in tomorrow's show. Join me again tomorrow as I speak to another 3 different party candidates also hoping to contest the upcoming elections. Good evening.